Today, drama means found family, drama means unspoken words, and drama means being so dense you have to hit them over the head with your love. Hi, welcome to Drama Means. Today we're talking about the 2026 Thai BL drama, Lately It's Winter Season.
And first a summary. After developing feelings for his close friend, a young man holds in his affections for 6 years until things finally bubble to the surface.
So, I'm apparently really bad at looking at calendars.
And math and measurements and things like that.
Yeah, so I, for some reason, thought I had a few more days of June left.
And why is that relevant?
It's relevant because I wanted to close out Pride Month.
Talking about BL.
Yes, and I thought it was, very proper to close out Pride Month with closing out Fourever You too.
Yeah, that's apt.
Right? Apparently it's July now.
It is July as we speak. As we record this and as this will air, it is already July.
So I was like, well, what do? I already planned all this, we're...
Well, to be fair, we were also late to Pride Month by a week because of your awesome math skills.
That is very true.
So let's just pretend. Let's just go back and we'll put ourselves a week into the past. And we'll just still pretend it's Pride Month. So happy Pride Month, everyone.
Yes. And we're closing out Pride Month.
By closing out Fourever You too.
Yes.
Can we first talk about why it's not called Fourever You 2? Because this is the fifth couple in the Fourever You 2.
Well, we already talked about the fact that it should be called Fourever You. I
don't want to belabor the point, but, the naming conventions aren't starting to not make sense. First of all, Fourever You 2, it's like Fourever You 4 or 5 by now. Every one of these couples is a new season to me. So how we're still in 2?
Especially because they take 2 weeks off before they air the next portion. So I do also feel like it's our 5th season of this show.
You know what? In America they do sometimes because they don't have to pay actors and crew like pay bumps for a new season if you just call it season 2.1 and then season 2.2. There are shows that have done that very famously of instead of moving to season 3, they shoot season 2.5. So none of the crew or the actors get raises.
Oh.
And so you can keep all the actors on their same contracts because it's not a new season. So maybe some of these earlier couples, if they would have called it Fourever You 3, then people like Pond and some of these people from Fourever You 1 wouldn't still be under contract for their cameos.
I don't know how all that works, and especially in Thailand, and how production and sometimes it gets kind of messy because there's been disputes of actors not getting paid.
Yeah.
Well after the show is done airing and things like that. So I'm not really sure how all this works. But as for this show goes, I feel like it is the closest rendition of the book.
And it's good for me because I did not read the book, and this is one of the Fourever You 2s that I haven't seen.
Yeah, I think this is the only one you didn't watch.
I don't think I watched the first one. I don't remember watching the first one. I started with the Typhoon and Tonfa season.
So I've watched the Johan North story so many times. I'm positive you've watched most of the scenes.
Yeah, I've probably seen a lot of it. But I didn't watch this one, so just to be upfront about that. But you think it's closest to the book. They follow the book as close as any of the series has so far.
I agree. And the thing is, every series, they follow pretty close to the book, but then there's certain times when they just, switch the order of things, or, they, cut a bunch of stuff, which they do cut stuff in this. It's, because the book is just, so much stuff happens. It takes place, I don't know, again, 6 years, right? So it's a lot of story to be told in 8 episodes. So but I think in past stories, they've cut out some important things or changed some important things that really affected their shows. In this, I feel like they cut out all the right things.
That's actually a really hard thing to do. We've talked about it in previous series with this show, is that sometimes you got to change things because of the tone of the show doesn't work. Like the kind of gouging out eyeballs all of a sudden doesn't work in your romantic, show. So maybe you have to lose some of that. So it's actually a really hard thing to do, to like know what to cut out to still give service to the story, but still do the show that you need to do.
Yeah. And most of this show has been, it's like all their backstory.
Right.
As the book is also, right? Whereas when we're watching Beside the Sky, we get a little tidbit of flashbacks that's like their backstory, but most of it is like present day. And we do get flashbacks of different, a lot of the couples do have like kind of a past history with each other. Only Artit and Daltok didn't have a past with each other, but we only got to see their backstories like through flashback. Whereas this one, the main story and their relationship build is all in their high school days.
Yeah, it's not taking place in this same college campus for the most part the way the other seasons, I'm just going to call them seasons because it's the only way I can think about it, but the other seasons really kind of exist in this crossovering of all of the characters as they are right now.
Yeah, and they do too. It's just that we saw a lot of it in the Johan North story, and then they do show a little bit of, afterward when they like get into college, but for the most part, all their relationship build has been in high school, and how, from how they meet to how they become best friends to how Tiger starts developing feelings for Now. So I know you have a lot of issues with this, like, these high school kids or these college kids being like super violent and like mafia and gang related.
That's not quite accurate, but yes, continue.
So the thing is, in Beside the Sky, they cut a lot of, that stuff out. And even in Sun from Another Star, there a lot of the big, gunfight, like, whatever, like, the action parts of it has been really condensed.
Yes.
And they kind of try to condense a little bit of it in this. But because Tiger is literally like a mob, or mafia boss or, like member, they had to include a very crucial, moment in their relationship and their action scene. And I really think that it was very necessary. Like, they can't just like tell the story like off screen.
It seems to be a thing they can't dance around if that's the core of who the character is.
Yeah.
So I get that. My biggest issue with the violence and things like that in the other stories is it felt out of place in those stories. Like, I know that they're tangentially related to mafia people, but like, you're doing a romance story about two college kids and suddenly there's mafia violence in it. It's like, wait, huh? Like, it's just, it takes you so far out of the tone of the show we're expecting to watch. It's like tuning into a medical show and all of a sudden it's a murder mystery. And you're like, wait a minute, they're doctors, not detectives. Like, what am I watching?
Well, so in this, they do have it. When I read the book, it was a really, like, big action sequence, right? Mm-hmm. And it's literally, like, he goes in with what, like, so in the book, Johan gives him one of his men, and he's specifically a sniper. So Johan's man is outside the building, and he's sniping the people who are trying to, like, attack Tiger. Tiger's, like, full-fledged running in, like, Rambo style, like, beating up all the rest of the mafia people, right? In this, they randomly had a Johan guy, like, go in with him for, like, I don't know, a few shots here and there, and then he ran.
Okay.
Right? Because he bounced because Johan's like, I'm not risking my man. If there's any kind of, like, if he's at all in danger, he's gonna leave you, right? And so Tiger agreed to that. The thing is, this production does not know how to do action.
But that's kind of my point. They shouldn't.
They shouldn't.
They shouldn't know how to do action. They should know how to do lovey, romance, butterflies in the tummy, cutesy moments between our characters. That's what they should be good at. The rest of it, I don't expect them to be good at.
I don't expect them to be good at, but it's like, if you're gonna have an action, like, hire a B team. I don't know, just like, it's badly edited. It doesn't help that Pai is like not, you could tell he's not a good fighter.
Yeah, probably not comfortable with the choreography. I mean, the choreography's hard.
Yeah. And the editing doesn't help him any. It's a lot of these like wide shots where it should be like, if, you know, if you're gonna hide that this person's a bad fighter, you need close-ups in these fight scenes. And it's very, like, wide angle. Like, you see how slow Pai is. You see how awkward his swings are. It's just not very good. And then also, like, how he ended up killing the bad guy in the book was so badass. Like, he literally, like, climbed on top of him and, like, slit his throat from on top of him, right? And in the show, it was just, like, really, like, just badly done. And so it, like, really took away from this moment that's supposed to be, like, he fucking went all out and climbed that mountain. Like, literally, like, was on top, right? And so it just, I don't know.
Well, I think when shows... So, first of all, stunts, action sequences, require two things that a lot of these BL shows don't have. Time and money. It's expensive, and it's so time-consuming, and because it's time-consuming, it's expensive. So that's one of the problems for trying to turn this show into an action show suddenly. Like, you just need a lot more time to shoot an action set piece than you need to shoot two people talking, you know, in their apartment and talking about their feelings. And the second thing is, I think a lot of times these productions get overambitious with what they think they can achieve. And they're like, oh, well, we can do this. We can still do it. When you could find creative solutions to allude to things and not have to show all that much action, but still show things with sound design and the fear of the character and like the impending doom of Tiger working his way to the big bad. And the big bad is hunkered down, listening to his guys die outside as the sniper's firing bullets in. And you're just like, oh no, what horror is coming my way? And then he comes in the room and he's covered in blood and he looks scary as shit. And it's like, whoa. And you don't need to show any of it now. And so like I wish filmmakers more often would use those tricks of denying us those things and keeping the cool alive the way we imagined it in the book. Like, we can imagine it the same on screen. Just give us something else to look at.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting a good action sequence, but it was still disappointing when you actually, like, especially when you've read the book and you, like, for me, I imagined a certain way. It was like the scenes were way too lit, honestly, because in the book he snuck in the middle of the night, and so it should be darker. It should be like you can only really see shadows. I think that would have helped their production a lot if they had done it that way, where it's like really you're only seeing shadows, but you're getting like the sounds, slicing and dicing of
And there's definitely a way to do it. It's just, I do think sometimes directors kind of get this chip on their shoulder and go, well, I can do this. So then they try to do the John Woo thing. They try to do this big action set piece. And you're like, well, yeah, but you don't understand the resources it takes to do that. So this isn't like, anything against you as your talent. It's just, you may not have the resources and the stunt people and the actors to pull this thing off. So just do yourself a favor and bite the size of, like, take off the what do you say? That don't bite off more than you could chew? Like, you got to figure out exactly what you can chew as a production.
Yeah. And this is another, like, plea for me that they should really get to do some kind of action show or movie. Because watching, this one where Pai is fighting, and then Love of Siloam just ended, and there were a lot of fighting in that too, and they you could tell they went through a little bit of training, and they try, but still, like, they don't look as good as Un fighting in that little bit of Son from Another Star, and I'm just like, oh yeah, he can be in action.
Some people have it. I mean, the greatest action actors I've ever worked with, all of them come from dance backgrounds, and they transition that into martial arts really well. So it's not unheard of for actors to be able to work themselves from, having 2 left feet to understanding choreography. It's dance choreography. It's just with fighting.
Yeah. So I think there were a lot of scenes that were cut that I was glad. I'm glad they cut it. I didn't care about the Tiger's dad. He's like the mafia boss. He was such a bad actor in the 2 scenes that he was in. So I'm glad that like everything was off screen of his death, right? And then they had like a big kind of mafia fighting because they wanted Leon to be like the next in line to take over the mafia or their family mafia. But then there was like all these like subunits of their group that wants to be the head, and they like shorten that out because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And they had like a scene where in the book, Dueannao goes to Boston to visit Dannue, and Dannue goes to Chiang Mai to look for them, and they like missed each other.
So they like cross each other in the skies?
I guess so. And then Dannue spends like a whole day with North in the book, and like I'm glad we didn't see that because it was very unnecessary.
Seems like an easy lift.
Yeah.
Like it's a story that goes nowhere.
Yeah. So I think in terms of just like adapting this show, I felt like it was easier for them to like figure out what to cut and like what parts to keep, the emotional parts, and it's I want to say like a lot of stuff happened, and it's all like relationship building for them. So there wasn't a whole lot of like other, side stories. Like, in Son from Another Star, there was like the whole ghost aspect of it, and like finding the mother's
Right.
spirit, like that all like played into it, and there was so much story that they needed to get through. But in this, the story was all within them, like their couple, like their friendship, and their willing to trust each other, and Tiger being able to lean on Dueannao.
Right.
So everything is very inward and emotional and relationship build. So there wasn't a whole lot that like they needed to cut out. It was just all relationship.
Sure. And that makes sense. And I think too, sometimes it's important to know why you're doing the scenes. And if you're looking at a scene and you go, why am I doing this? Oh, this strengthens the bond between these 2 side characters, or this strengthens the bond between Tiger and his dad. And then you're going, well, that's actually not what our show's about. Our show is about our 2 main characters, and so we actually don't need scenes that strengthen these other bonds in the periphery. And so, like, to me, that's the ripe fruit to just pick and, like, put that to the side and get to, like, the real heart of what your show is.
Yeah, I agree. And it seemed to flow the best, too, from, like, scene to scene. It just had, like, a forward momentum, in their story, whereas a lot, like, some of the ones, like, it had a very, like, stop, and, like, you're like, okay, we'll get back to the actual story kind of thing.
Well, thinking back to the other ones, too, it also feels like they did kind of all deal with these, like, side problems, and so they put... And I think sometimes the side problems were in service of getting our main characters together, like with Artit and Daotak, like helping the ghost in his apartment is in service of like giving them an excuse to be together. But then you also just have so many scenes where it's Artit and the girl at the jail, and it's like, Daotak and the ghosts, and you're like, well, that's not bringing our characters close.
Yeah.
And so it does feel like a pause.
Yeah. So I do think this as a story is most complete.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
It's hard to do as a, like, fifth installment of this, really. Like, when you're talking about the couples, like, the fifth couple feels like the most complete. Like, that's actually kind of difficult to do.
Yeah, it's I guess because the story really concentrates on their relationship, it does flow the best. But I do think that their relationship build did feel a little bit fast. Just like some of those moments, like where they connect, or where they're get up at night and they spend their time together going to the night market and like hanging on the bridge and stuff. Like those are nice moments, but because there's so many moments in their relationship that they keep piling on, doesn't give the audience like a little bit time to like absorb their relationship and their emotions and those moments where they're just really like bonding. Mm-hmm. Not that I want it to go slower. I just wanted like those scenes to like not less of it, but more effective.
Right. Well, yeah, you want to feel the growth, and if it goes from kind of cold to hot too quickly, you don't feel the growth. Like, it's kind of like, will he notice him? No. Will he notice him? No. Will he finally receive his love? No. Will he finally receive his love? Yes.
Yeah.
And you're just like, well, wait, where was the thing where we kind of transitioned to that middle period where we kind of, like we talked about before, like where we get the butterflies, where we get the courtship, and it seems like, well, where's that? Like, that's the key of the romance. And like, maybe it's there, but if they're not doing it effectively, it might leave you feeling a little empty.
It's there. The thing is, it's there because they have those scenes and they do spend a lot of time together, right? But because they're like cutting through a lot of stuff and filling it in with a lot of like important things in the book, but it's like almost, it's like, oh, this happens, cut, next thing happens, right? And so it's just like, you don't get that moment for the audience to just kind of sit and be like, oh, I'm really enjoying this moment. I'm really enjoying, like, them just hanging out on the bridge and, like, enjoying each other's company. It's like, oh, they're on the bridge, they're enjoying each other's company. Next scene, oh, Dueannau's gonna help or suggest to Tiger that he should, contact his brother and they should like make up and talk it out kind of thing, which is a very important scene for their relationship because, for the longest time, Tiger had this like kind of hate, but not hate like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Detests?
Disdain.
He kind of detests his brother, but not really. Just like, he just can't stand, like, first of all, being pressured into doing the things that they're asking him to do. And also, like, because I kind of have this with my sister, especially when I was in younger high school years, where I always felt like I was being judged and compared to my sister, and my sister possibly looking down on me because I'm not, like, as studious as she is, or stuff like that. And he kind of had the same thing too. You're
talking about like resentment in a more...
like a resentment. And so, but also like just misunderstanding where his brother's coming from.
Sure. And
Dueannao is like, you should really talk it out with him and, like, ask him why he does what he does and says what he says, kind of thing.
Right.
And so that is very important in their relationship because without Dannue, Tiger would just continuously, like, misunderstand his brother, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? So there's these moments, right? But, like, when they do film it, it's also like, oh, let's just kind of brush by.
Yeah.
Like, these kind of really strong moments in their relationship and in the book. It's kind of, like, just glossed over.
It makes really important moments feel breezy and, like, feel casual.
Yeah.
I think one thing that isn't valued as much these days, especially as when you're looking for like runtime in a show where you're just like, oh man, this episode has to be, 42 minutes. This episode has to be, 58 minutes or whatever, is you don't give a lot of emotional moments time to breathe. And I do think, like, yes, we're all impatient. Yes, we all have, like, watch anxiety. We just want to get to the next thing. And it's like, this kind of social media, oh, just get to the next thing. I don't want to, no anticipation whatsoever. No thrill, no buildup. But you have to kind of let those moments breathe. Otherwise, they do feel breezy.
Yeah. I am, and a little later, I'm going to talk about the scenes that I do find too breezy. But first, I want to talk about their acting.
Okay. How did they do?
So, they're not bad. But compared to all the other couples and the acting skills of the other couples, they are definitely the weakest link. The weakest of the leads.
But it does make sense because at this point in the show, we're dealing with the fifth couple. Like, we're dealing with the side characters of the side characters at this point. Like, let's be honest. We have our like core group.
Yeah, but they have their own book. So they're
okay, they get their own book, but like there's, Han Solo gets his own book, but he still ain't Luke Skywalker. Like, I mean,
I mean, a lot of people, I think, like Han Solo more.
It's a bad example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's not that they're bad. It's just that I don't know if it's because when I was reading the book, the emotional scenes were more emotional in my head. And then when they do the emotional scenes in the show, again, it kind of gets glossed over. It's a little breezy. And maybe that might be it, or just that I have such high expectations after watching, all the rest of the other couples. And, they're all like veteran actors.
Right.
Right? And of course, Pi and Golf have been in other things, but they're still the younger ones of the group and the less veteran actors of the group. So I do feel like Pi definitely needs some more work on his emotional scenes. The thing is, Dueannao as a character is a little more like simple-minded. So he doesn't actually get that many emotional scenes in general.
Right.
But there is a scene at the end where he does, like, his character does get emotional, and they didn't really do that. They didn't even film it that way in the show for it to be an emotional scene. So they totally stripped Golf of actually having that emotional scene. Right?
Interesting.
So I didn't get to see the emotions I wanted to see from this couple.
Well, I think that too can come, like you say, from the directing, the storytelling, making some moments feel more casual than they are. Like, I think when you're dealing with actors that might be a little weaker, you do kind of have to help them with material in places, help them with the camera with places.
Yeah.
And making sure that you're asking of your actors things they can do. And then when you're asking them to kind of go above and beyond, you have to really figure out a way to push them there.
Yeah.
Which is a difficult thing to do. But again, like, we're talking about the youngest of the cast, or the kind of the newbies among the veterans.
Yeah.
So you can't really treat them like veterans. You have to, like, maybe work with them a little bit differently to try to get them there.
Yeah. And hopefully, like, as we say, I'm probably they're going to be in other stuff, or, be a pairing for a while after this. So maybe the next thing, they were slated to do a very emotional adaptation of a book, but I think that got canceled. So I don't know. I kind of wish that they were going to do that, because it's like a very sad book.
Right.
So, I kind of wish to see that, like, difference, like, maybe that they'd be able to, like, handle it and then show us, like, hey, guess what? We're really amazing actors, kind of thing. But, I do have to say, like, there was a certain scene that I felt like it could have been more impactful. And it's very crucial to their relationship because it's when Tiger kills a person for the first time.
Right.
And he, like, runs back to Dannue and, like, he's so shook up. He's like, shivering and he's crying and he's, like, dazed and he's, like, actually done something horrible. And then he's also worried that Dannue will, like, think less of him or, like, not talk to him anymore. And he just has all these, like, emotions rushing through. And the thing is, they do it, right? They do the scene. It's just that it was shortened from the book, right?
Sure.
And the thing is, there's a scene where Tiger is on Dannue's shoulder and just bawling his head off to the point where Dannau's whole shirt is, like, wet, right? They kind of skip that. I mean, they kind of, like, breeze through it.
Sure.
Where, like, he kind of cried a little bit, and he was a little bit, like, hugging Dannue for, like, 2 seconds. And then Dannau's like, oh, my shirt's all wet, but, like, you don't see anything, right? And you're just like, okay, I don't know. It's just, again, because I read the book, and maybe this is, like, maybe I shouldn't have read the book, right? I just wanted more. You know, and if you hadn't read the book, you would watch the scene and it wouldn't do anything. Like, you'd be like, oh, okay, this is an emotional scene. But after reading the book, I just, like, they didn't meet my expectations because it wasn't as emotional. And the thing is, like, Dannue in the book is, like, really concerned about Tiger, but also really relieved that Tiger's not hurt.
Right, and it's like very mixed, complex emotions.
Very complex emotions that he's also trying to hide and, like, be the support and strong, like, easy breezy friend to Tiger because he knows that if he has any kind of judgment towards Tiger would lose it even more. So there's like 3 different emotions in Dannue that, like, we didn't really get to see. And it was played pretty straight.
I mean, it's really difficult. Like, for an actor, especially an inexperienced actor.
And they're so young.
To be doing that range of, like, that needs so much help.
Yeah.
To get there. And what I mean by help is, like, scenes before that can kind of vocalize those emotions.
Yeah.
So that when he comes in and he's relieved and he's, like, runs to, like, hug him, I'm so glad you're safe, but then sees the look in his partner's eyes, this ghosted, like, I'm not who I was when I left kind of look. And then he has to have a reaction to that, but he doesn't want to have an overreaction. Like, those are very difficult things for very good actors to do.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying these guys aren't good actors, but you know what I'm saying? Like, we're talking about high level stuff. And again, when you're doing shows like this, you have so limited time for these scenes. Like, you try to carve out as much, you pick these scenes off and go, all right, this is a biggie, but you still only have so much time to shoot it and get it right. And these actors don't get that many shots at it, I bet. I bet they have very limited time to try to get it right, and then it's, well, that's good enough, let's move on. Let's hope we have it.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think my expectations were just a little too high for this.
And I'm not saying, honestly, I'm all for high expectations. I think we should, that's one of the reasons I think we do this podcast, is I do think, as much as we come off as haters sometimes, like, I think we all should demand more from what we watch. And we shouldn't let filmmakers cut corners and give us the McDonald's cheeseburgers of shows. Like, they should be giving us a premium product. Like, they're expecting us to use our money on their streaming service and buy their merch and do all these things and go to the fan meets. Well, then you have to provide me with a real product and you have to try really hard. So I'm all for high expectations and things, you know, maybe falling short. Doesn't mean you have to, like, shit on it or hate them. Just means, like, ugh, I wish this was more.
Yeah. I also felt like that's the scene after, and this is a production thing, after Tiger assassinates the rival gang boss that hurt, you know, Danneu's family. Tiger was in a coma for a while. He was shot, and they did not know if he was going to wake up.
Right.
And he was missing for a bit. And they kind of didn't give us that passage of time that we needed as an audience. It almost felt like, oh, he woke up the next day.
Right. So it was like never really that serious.
Yeah. And so then, and then him like calling Dannue, and Danneu's like, you know, like didn't want to tell him something bad had happened to him. And then, so he also didn't want him to know that, like, he's injured and he can't play soccer. And then, just, like, that scene, there's, like, different emotions, right? It's, like, the audience is getting is, like, we know that Tiger almost died.
Right.
Right? As an audience. That Dannue knows nothing about. Like, he is completely in the dark. But he also is a little, like, forlorn because he misses Tiger. And he's like, why is Tiger not around? Why is he, like, he just, like, up and left and didn't say goodbye to me? Like, where is he? Also, like, he doesn't want Tiger to worry about him, but he also is like, I need you by my side. There are a lot of emotions in these moments, right? That honestly, the book didn't even convey that well. And the story did, and the production didn't convey very well. And, like, the kind of, like, Tiger making the decision to move to Hong Kong so he could train and work at the mafia and train and, like, fight better so that he has a better standing and being able to protect the people that he wants to protect, right? Mm-hmm. That's, like, a big decision. They kind of, like, breeze through that in the show. They breeze through it in the book, too.
Right.
But these are all, like, emotions that I felt like really needed to be felt by the audience. And we did feel it a little bit, but because the production really did, like, kind of just like, oh, it's all fine. And then they spend, like, the next 2 years, like, video calling each other.
Yeah, it's montaging it. You're, like, montaging the emotional crux of their coming together at the end.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Which is, like, the book does it too, so it's following the book. But, there should be almost like a melancholic feel to this period of time, right? Which we don't get at all, because they do like talk to each other when they can, and then, like, there's times when, like, Tiger's very injured, you know, and can't come on the call or whatever, or like goes missing for a few days. But it's just like, even in the book, it breezes through it because it's very montagey in the book. And then when Tiger comes back, he dresses up as a mascot and stalks Dueannao for, you know, the whole day of their like sports day or whatever. And so it's just like, okay, it goes back to comedic after this, like, melancholic time. So it's just kind of, tone-wise, I don't know. Again, I just don't think the audience got some of that emotional, like, feelings, right? Like, it's very, like, they're leaning more towards comedic, you know, rom-com rather than, like, you know, this is kind of a very, like, moment where they're really missing each other, you know? And it's like they kind of mention it a little bit, but it's just like, you don't get that feeling. The feels. I'm always looking for the feels.
Well, I mean, in a relationship type based show, that's what you should be looking for.
Dannue has an emotional scene.
Yes.
Right? And
but in the book, he has an emotional scene, but in the show, they didn't do the emotional scene?
Yeah. Okay. So in the book, you know, Tiger very aggressively confesses to Dannue after Danneu's like, just can't figure out why Tiger is reacting so strongly towards him wanting to date this girl, right? And they have like an argument, and then finally Tiger like just lets it all out and is like, you know, I've liked you for 6 years, you know, since high school, all this stuff, right? And Dannue is confused because he's never once thought that it was a possibility. And then Tiger disappears for several days.
Right.
And Dannue can't find him, and he's like already freaking out that he's losing Tiger, you know, out of his life. And when he decides that maybe he can accept Tiger's feelings, he goes to Tiger's home with like roses, right? And I don't even remember how he figured out where Tiger lives, because they technically share a dorm together.
Okay.
But Tiger has another like condo that he owns.
Okay.
Right?
Shady.
Well, as a mafia boss.
Yes.
Right? So when he sees Tiger, he just like expresses all of his concerns and his emotions and how he doesn't want to lose Tiger, you know, in that scene. And they didn't really, they kind of made it a little bit more comedic and very like friendship talking, rather than like this plea of, I can't not have you in my life.
Right.
Right? And so, again, we didn't get an emotional scene from Dueannao or, you know, Golf. So we can't really even gauge how good Golf's acting is, because, I mean, there's other things, right, like in the whole show, but his character isn't that emotionful.
Emotionally driven or expressive.
Yeah, anyway. So, so we didn't get that, like, it was like like, he was really, in the book, he was more desperate. He was very desperate to, like, get Tiger back in his life, like, you know,
right.
And like, and him being willing to like try out their relation, like as a romantic relationship rather than a friendship. And so there was like a lot of like, yeah, desperation is the best word for it.
Well, goes back to the breezy. This goes back to like wanting to be more casual with the way these characters are interacting, whether that's good, bad, indifferent, like however you feel about that. Like, you do rob an actor of a big emotional scene, but maybe they felt it was too melodramatic at that point in the story. Like, who knows why they decided to actually go that way.
Yeah. So there are a few things that I felt like I needed from the story.
Okay.
Let it be something that doesn't even exist in the book, or, you know, a couple scenes that did exist in the book, but they didn't cut, or like they didn't shoot that, like it was that their story got cut short. But the first thing is, so when Tiger went to go assassinate the rival gang boss, he had written a will, an explanation of, if he were to die, he was like, give this letter to Dannue.
Uh-huh.
Right? And this letter is basically his love confession, what he went to go do, you know, and that he's probably not around anymore, kind of letter. He gives it to his brother, and is like, oh, I think it was his brother. Now I can't remember if it was Johan or his brother. Anyway, there's this letter that exists, right? I'm pretty sure it was his brother. So he wakes up, letter never shows up again. Like, it's like no one, you know.
Yeah, it never makes its way to Danneu's character. He never even knows that exists. Yeah. And it never comes back to play ever again.
Yeah. And so once again, the audience knows something that Dannue never will ever know. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, but why? Like, why? Like, he's the lead character. Of course he needs to find out. So I thought that it would have been best on their wedding day. So Tiger and Dannue in the book gets married. Right? on their wedding day, I thought that Leon was going to give Dannue the letter as, like, a wedding gift. Right? The letter never shows up. Like, it's just not, like, Dueannao is forever never gonna know that Tiger almost died for him.
Right. Well, he doesn't know he even almost died for him, or he doesn't know that he thought he was going to die before that. Like, Dannue doesn't know that he even tried to go kill the rival boss. Like, he doesn't know any of that ever happened ever.
Nope.
Well, that's crazy.
Weird. It's weird. The thing is...
So where did he think he went?
He thought
when he went to go killing.
No, he didn't go kill... Like, he thought that Tiger just left after, like, their sports day or whatever, or soccer match, and then he left for Hong Kong and he started working in the mafia. That's what Tiger told him.
Oh. Like, well, that's weird.
It is weird. And the thing is, his twin brother, Dannue, figured it out. Because Dannue's the smart one, right?
Sure.
Right? But no one tells Dueannao anything. Right? And in the book, I remember the mom, like, waking up and seeing Tiger at the hospital for, like, a second before she fell back asleep. They didn't show that in the book. But, like, basically you would think, oh, the mom knows, Dannue knows, only Dueannao doesn't know.
I'm very confused.
So it's such a, like, he's the lead. He needs to know these things.
Well, yeah, because the jeopardy in it is the object of his affection. So, like, the outcome of this, like, murder spree only really matters to our main characters, because one of them would be dead and the other one would be without their love.
Yeah.
So, like, those are the stakes. And if the characters don't know the stakes of their story, that's a huge problem.
Yeah.
Like, I've been in writers' rooms where people have, like, will pitch storylines, and you're like, I know, but that character is going through their story without realizing what they're fighting for. Like, that's a massive problem. Because all the character motivation, like, you're tricking the audience, and you're making him think that the characters are fighting for something, and they understand the stakes, but they don't. The audience does, though. So you're kind of deballing your main character there.
Yeah. So the whole time I'm waiting for that letter to finally get to Dueannao, and it never does. It never fucking does.
Honestly, it's too late for me. Like, he's got to know what's going on in his own story. I'm sorry.
Dude, 6 years, almost like the end, does he find out that Tiger has had a crush on him. Like,
no, I know, but, like, I don't know. This is blowing my mind right now.
Yeah. So that wasn't a thing that, like, the book didn't have, the show didn't have, but it's, like, kind of crucial, and it needed to happen, and it didn't happen. So another thing I wanted to see, which I really enjoyed in the book, was after they got married, and this is a long time later, and I understand why they didn't do it. After they get married, and Dannao retires from e-gaming.
Okay.
Or whatever that's called. Esports. And they move back to their old neighborhood, like, where next door to his mom, and they adopt a daughter.
Okay.
Right? And just how they, like, took her in, and she was, like, she wasn't that, like, you know, she was kind of, like, sullen at the orphanage. And, but they took her in, and she was, like, really worried that, like, she was gonna get in trouble for, like, not cleaning up after herself or whatever, and then, slowly she kind of, like, opens up and realizes, like, they're not gonna give up on her.
Right.
And things like, and just stuff like that, and then, like how the show ultimately ends, or not the show, the book ultimately ends, is that, she decides that she wants to help Tiger and, like, take over the mafia after him.
Right.
And so she starts training. to fight, so that later when she grows up, she can be part of the mafia.
It's kind of funny that like that's like the number one thing you have to do when you're a mafia guy. You have to be like, I gotta train. You're like, or you could be good at business that doesn't require you murdering other people.
Yeah,
that would also make you really good at being in a mafia. It's just like being a really good business person or fist fighting.
Anyway, so that, like that was stuff that I wanted to see, but they didn't show.
Maybe they can listen to our podcast and hear our gripes so that they do the cool stuff we want them to do.
Yeah.
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 Anyway.
You know what I wanted to see in this? I wanted to see that scene where Tiger is like confessing or like really distraught about killing his first, person. And Dannau's like, I know, my first was really hard too. He's like, wait, what? Who are you killing? It's just, college professors.
The thing is, in the book, Dannao claimed to be a gang boss too, right? And there was a whole thing that they totally cut out of the story, which I'm glad because it was really unnecessary. And him training to box and stuff because he was worried that his stepdad was coming back. That was all cut, which is
probably a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Anyway,
my rating is In the Buffet Line.
So pretty positive overall. It seems like you enjoyed the show.
I did enjoy the show, and every week it was one of my main things that I looked forward to. And again, I said, their relationship build was the best out of all the stories, and then it flowed the best. So I did very much enjoy this. There were, of course, it's never perfect. And I rarely find things to be perfect anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, In the Buffet Line. And we are closing out Pride Month.
Yeah, happy Pride Month, everyone. Hope you made the most of it.
Yeah, and I know people will be missing Fourever You and Fourever You too. But we are saying goodbye to them as well.
There you go.
And thank you for listening.
We will see you next time.